Significant news in Happy Valley. Kaytron Allen, Nick Singleton, and Drew Allar are all returning to Penn State due to, quote, unfinished business. Unfinished business. So now we ask the question and we pivot. Can Penn State get over the hump? Can they win the Big Ten? Can they beat Oregon? Can they beat Michigan, Ohio State, and such and such? I don't think that's ever been the proper question. I think they can. Without a doubt can. They have the assets, they have the coaching, they have the talent. Will they? That's the question. And although Allen, Singleton, and Allar, those three returning for Penn State, it's huge news. Does it solve their biggest problem? That's what I want to go into. So I have some stats for you. Against Ohio State, Oregon, SMU, Boise, and Notre Dame. Penn State's 5 biggest games of the season. Drew Allar in those 5 games, 129 attempts. This is passing stats, 70 completions, 54% completion percentage, 805 yards, 6 yards a pass attempt, 6 touchdowns, 4 picks, 76 NFL passer rating, which that stat isn't the end-all be-all, but it's a good measurer for output. For context, Will Levis had an 82 NFL passer rating last season, so 76 is not quite where you'd want it to be. Now, the absolute biggest loss for Penn State, and this is why I asked the question, I'm not sure if this solves their biggest problem. Those 3 returning gives Penn State the floor that it needs to compete, but does it give them the ceiling to go from competing to winning against those teams? Because Tyler Warren is a tough loss. This is a guy who has over 100 receptions, 1,200 yards as a tight end. He'll probably go first round. Now, in those 5 games, we're going to measure which Drew Allar was throwing to anyone except Tyler Warren in those 5 big games. 87 attempts, 43 completions, 49% completion percentage, 5.8 yards per pass attempt, 4 touchdowns, 4 picks, 64 passer rating. Does it solve their biggest problem, those 3 returning? No, it does not. Now, Penn State has an entire offseason because their number one priority should be, okay, we got these 3 coming back. We got the floor that we need. We need to replace Tyler Warren. Because Penn State, I'm going to tell you, in the games that they lost against Notre Dame, Penn State averaged 5 yards per carry, Notre Dame 2.8. Notre Dame nearly doubled them in passing yards. Notre Dame won the game because of it. Penn State averaged 9 yards per carry against Oregon. Allar threw 2 picks and lost. Against Ohio State, the defense forced 2 turnovers against them. They had chances to win that game. A goal to down situation to score, and they did not. 133 passing yards for Penn State. They are currently plus 850 to win the national championship. That's the 5th highest odds in college football. I look at that and I say, okay, yes, they will compete for it. I'm pretty certain of that. But are they worthy to be ahead of teams like Alabama, Tennessee, LSU, Michigan, teams that you could argue have exponentially higher ceilings? I'm not sure if they are. That question remains to be answered. Now, what have they done to replace Tyler Warren, to replace that type of production? Because seeing Allar's stats in those games when he did not throw to Tyler Warren, it is pretty glaring. It's pretty glaring. Well, they added Devontae Ross from Troy. 1,000 yards, over 1,000 yards in the season, 11 touchdowns from Troy. They added Kyron Hudson from USC, 400 yards, 3 touchdowns. Is that enough? Is that enough for me to put stock into Penn State to win the Big Ten, to beat Ohio State, to beat such and such? Like the question that's been clamored in Happy Valley for the last 9 years, will they get over that hump? That is the question that when you take a job like Penn State, that is the question you're going to get asked. Legitimately is. Comes with high expectations. James Franklin's a great coach. I'm a Franklin defender. You could call me that. I live in Nashville. I saw this guy grew up in Nashville. I saw this guy turn Vanderbilt into a 9-win football team. The situation that he inherited at Penn State was a really tough one. Turned it around immediately. Can he get him to that next level? I believe he can. But will they? That question remains to be answered. They're going to need to do some more work in the portal for me to put some stock into them. I'm going to be transparent with you. I will be. But again, significant news for Penn State. These 3 returning probably means they will be competing for the Big Ten.